Let me just check and see if we're live. You always have to do that. Oops. Are we live? Yes, we are. I think we are. Yes, we are live. Okay.
All right.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. This is the Clown World stream number 2. I'm your host, the Swamp Cleaner. We are here with. I did tell you it was going to be an old buddy of mine, but due to time zone issues, he had to back out. But we have a new guy with us. His name is Mike. Hey, Mike, say hello.
Hey, how's it going?
All going good. It's just that everything is going crazy, and it seems like the world is trying to burn itself to the ground. But
Honk,
anyway, honk honk. But anyway, today there's going to be a few topics we're going to discuss. First, we'll touch on the insanity that is Jessica Yaniv and her, his, it, whatever you'd want to call it. Problems with women who don't feel like waxing his quote-unquote vagina, which is oddly shaped like a cock and balls. We will also be discussing how everything is racist, no matter what Donald Trump says. Even if he specifically says we need to condemn white supremacy, he's just a white supremacist terrorist leader, and people are just going nuts. So
Orange Man bad.
Yes, Orange Man bad. And that all is encompassed around the tragic and horrific mass shootings that occurred over the weekend in Dayton, Ohio, and El Paso, Texas, where over 30 people have been killed by crazy gunmen from fringes on both sides of the aisle. So we have a lot to discuss today, and we will be heading straight into it. So I was just on Twitter looking up stuff about Jessica Yaniv, and this was the first thing that popped up. Breaking: RCMP search the home of the alleged predator Jessica Yaniv. Let me screen share that for everybody. All right. Now, this is hilarious because this stems from, I don't know if, did you watch any of the of that live stream yesterday with her and Blair White?
No, I did not.
I was at work, but I was able to catch some of it, and Blair was just slamming into her, laying in with those, especially going after him about going into girls' bathrooms, taking pictures with him, like selfies with the girls clearly in the photos behind him. I don't know if you've seen all those messages.
Isn't that a breach of privacy?
Yeah, it is. But remember, it's 2019, and you got to respect the rights of women. And
wait, we got to respect
women.
The rights of the people that are less than 13% of the population. Okay.
Less than 0.3% of the population, bro.
0.3?
Yeah, like, okay, the gay community, the LGBTQ community is around 3% of the population. Of that of the 3%, there's only about, like, within that population, it's about 10% transsexual, but in the entire population of the country, or I mean of the world, it's only 0.3%. They're a decimal place.
Jesus, but they get to handle the majority, right? They get to dictate what.
Yes, this King of the Hill lookalike here who can't
for that one.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Dauterive did a better job. I mean, he at least attempted to sound like a woman. I mean, because he actually had a nervous break and thought he was his own wife. But I don't know if you could say if that's more or less of a problem when it comes to the mental problems that this individual has.
It's gender dysphoria.
No, hey, don't be bigoted. It's a choice. It's how they feel.
It's gender dysphoria.
It's not chemical imbalances in the head that have been scientifically marked, or anything like that. But anyway, getting to the article here. Apparently, the RCMP raided his home because he was brandishing. I didn't see the part on the stream itself, but he was brandishing a taser in the debate. I guess he was like, I don't know, like, it was a dick measuring contest and he was trying to win. So apparently somebody on the law enforcement side was watching the stream too, and they swooped in to say no, no, no. That's not right, because in Canada you are not allowed to do. I mean, and I don't agree with this. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. You should be allowed to have a taser or some defensive thing like that. Yeah, you're not allowed to have any of those things up in Canada. What do you think?
Which is kind of, I mean, yeah, obviously, as a fucking American, I think it should be able to have a fucking fully automatic fucking weapon, but at the same time, I mean, it's not my country, it's not my laws, so if she bought it, she broke the law.
Well, that's why I think like Blair's live stream was so good, is because she can't go after Blair White, because Blair White's an American. She has freedom of speech. In Canada, it is technically against the law to hurt somebody's feelings. So you can actually, you can literally go to jail.
Is she actually winning the social justice tribunals?
The last time I took a look, it was from Nick Monroe, but of course he got suspended from Twitter again because he made a alternate account, which you're not allowed to do after you've been suspended before. So, but he was dropping all the trial transcripts, and it was just insanity. He was talking about the crazy legal theory of feeling who you are is good enough, and you don't need doctors like approvals and doctors okays to actually just be the opposite sex. And they were treating it like it was a genuine level-headed argument. They were tolerating insanity, and it was a sight to behold.
They were tolerating that she was trying to force women to wax her balls, and as a business, you should be able to have the right to say no to anything.
Well, here's the thing, and judged on this person's character, I highly assume that first off, she was seeing how far he was seeing how far he could go, and he was going to win either way, because if they denied the service based off of the actual the reality of it all, and that they're not qualified to do so, she would sue for discrimination. And if they did go ahead and do the procedure, and somehow he got hurt, without a doubt, I would say that he would sue for malpractice and injuries.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, and I know, and I think, because this is the kind of person who can put two and two together. This person is smart, that he would know that if the person tells you that I'm not qualified, but I'm going to do it anyway, he could get hurt, and he knows this. But I think he's willing to sacrifice that because of the ideology. This person is a ideological zealot, and that's why this person is dangerous.
I also believe this person is semi-okay with pedophiles.
Yes, that's right. We should get into that whole chestnut and that side of the argument here. This person, on top of trying to corner women who are actual women into legal corners and get them screwed over financially or business wise, this person on the side, as a hobby, likes to look at little girls and talk about how they menstruate, and how many panties he saw on girls in the locker rooms and stuff like that.
Or here's a good idea. Let's fucking host a fucking, what was it, 12 and up or 12 and over, fucking
let me
pool
type
party,
that in.
right? Pool party.
Let me type that in, pool party. Yeah, I'm putting that up. I'm searching that right now again.
And parents can't show up, but don't worry, your kids are just mandatory to be topless.
Pool party. Let me put come on. Where is it? Trans women in general applies for permit. Yeah, for semi-nude public pool party with children. come on, man. This is like, come on. You have you have the evidence of the messages. You have the blatant disregard for the sanctity of like the female sex and the female like gender. So, and then you organize a pool party for minors where the parents of said minors are not allowed to attend out of safety. You'd have to be an idiot to not recognize what this means. This is 2 + 2 = 4. He wants to get your kids alone so he can grab on them, fiddle them, do whatever.
Isn't
And
exactly isn't doesn't he say that he is a transgender but a lesbian as well?
so that means he's straight. So so
Yeah,
so he's a
exactly.
guy, he likes women. So he's just he's a twisted in the head straight guy who probably hasn't been able to get any because I'm assuming before he tried to transition, he probably wasn't the best looking dude and probably didn't have any luck with the ladies. So he decided to go this path and see where he could go. And yeah,
And now he tries to touch kids.
mm-hmm. And the transgender woman who filed for gender identity discrimination complaints against mostly pure. Oh yeah, and that's right. Why he targeted? He didn't even go to like a big company like a chain or something. He went to mom and pop like salons to get it done, and most of them were run by poor immigrant women. But I mean, I'm not trying to say that he was targeting people, but seems a little coincidental.
It's like the more the left tries to coexist with each other, the more the left also just tries to tear themselves apart.
Well, I mean,
It's
it's
just,
because they keep reaching further and further left to the extreme. And what's sad about this is that the Democratic Party, I think we'll transition here to the next topic. The Democratic Party is trying to latch on to this far left wing because they think that there's more people there than there are, and how they do so is by going off the deep end with this heightening up this crazy rhetoric and pushing like racism, sexism, like oh the
listen,
patriarchy.
I'm sorry, but when it comes to kids, when it comes to pedophilia, I draw the fucking line. I don't care. I'm very extreme when it comes to this subject, but I think death penalty to pedophiles.
Oh yes. Well, why do you think when pedophiles go to jail, the murderers and the drug dealers and the bank robbers, they all hang the fuckers, cut their balls off, and shove them in their mouth and hang them from the ceiling.
Yeah, because it's such a even the people that
You don't
fucking
go after
sell
children.
cocaine, even the people that sell cocaine for a living or were part of the mob, they see that and they see that as a crime that is unforgivable. And it is. It is a
Yeah,
crime that's unforgivable. You are forever mentally fucking up that child.
right.
Forever.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a horrible thing to do. I mean, because criminals have an honor code that yeah, I got into whatever this by choice, but I'm not going to destroy the lives of a child. I mean, I'm not going to like that. That's something that it doesn't matter if you're a criminal or an honest person, hardworking. There's a moral standard there,
Exactly.
and we all share that. But but
But
that
apparently
topic, yeah.
apparently
Go
apparently the
ahead.
left doesn't share that anymore. Apparently
No, they're okay. They
they're
want to add that
they're
to the
okay with it.
LGBTQ. They want to add that to the list.
I
It's
protested that, FYI.
good. Good on you. Good on you.
I went to a pride meeting towards where I was and near Seattle, Washington. That's the best I'm gonna give on a live stream.
All right.
But in Seattle, Washington, they actually had the pedo gender fucking stand there.
Mm. Oh God, and they had like that Slate article, and they were talking about that, and and they're trying to say it's a sexual orientation because they were born with it. They don't want to harm. It's not about harming children. It's about loving children.
They were also they were also handing out candy, FYI.
Oh, hey! Is the black van at the edge of the corner? Is the black van sitting up at the edge of the corner there too? Fucking hop in, kids. Gross. Gross.
Fucking free Wi-Fi.
But
Man,
anyway,
no, but I went out there
and go ahead.
with a with the sign that said "Say no to pedos," and like I don't even have a problem with the LGBT community. Okay, I think whatever two couples do behind closed doors is fucking none of my business.
Exactly.
But that's between
Don't push
two
the
consenting
ideology,
adults.
though. Don't
That's
push the ideology.
That's between two consenting adults. A child can't consent. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, you don't because they don't understand what consent is. And I think that is a part fundamentally with the whole thing of puberty. Puberty is the transition period from when you're just a, a human being to where you become an active member of expanding the human race. There's a difference there. You need to understand the fundamentals of life first, like get that down pat before you can expand into the more intricate facets of what it means to be a human being. And trying to teach kids who are like 3 to 7 years old about transgenderism, sex change, gay lifestyle, it doesn't register properly. It warps their minds into a false sense of what reality is, and then when they do hit puberty, they just get more confused as fuck.
They're grooming. It's called grooming. they groom these kids, and then once they actually do hit puberty, they're like, oh wait, I do like women. So now what?
I know, like they're already in the middle of transitioning to be a woman, and they find out that they're straight or something. Where it's like the confusion is gone, and they know who they are finally, and they're just like, oh fuck, well I've already taken puberty blockers since 7. I'm already sterile. I can't have kids now. Might as well commit suicide.
And it happens a lot, and it's
sad.
It's
40%. It's for what, about 45% of the community is.
It's like It's like, okay, a male transitioning to a woman. You realize that male cannot achieve an orgasm anymore, right?
So yeah, even if you get the full works and they give you nerve endings and stuff, you just feel something moving around inside you. You don't reach a climax. That's just very upsetting. That's disturbing.
That's fucking terrible.
That's just it's wrong. I'm sorry. It's just I'm sorry. I don't mean being sensitive, but like my brain is wired into the normal setting, and it doesn't compute. It doesn't compute. My brain cannot. I cannot wrap my head around this. I mean, I can understand some aspects. I just cannot get there to be that mindset. I cannot, because that's not how my brain works. But anyway, I think we'll move on from that topic, even though that I can tell this one is a very highly contested one for you, and I appreciate that. The passion is very much appreciated. But we'll go from the LGBT community trying to add extra letters to its community to the Democrats and the mainstream media trying to add words to the ever expanding umbrella of what racism is. Because apparently now the word infested is racism or something. Like
what? Infested?
Yeah, did you not see that CNN anchor the weekend before the shootings? He was crying over Trump's going after Baltimore and Cummings about it being rat infested and rodent infested. What he did is he just did the thought policing and said, well, you know what he really means when he says infested? He means it's infested with brown and black people. So that's the real infestation that Donald Trump is talking about. It doesn't matter if he puts the word crime or drug in front of it, he really means that the infestation is just, people of color. And that is just a dog whistle to these racists. And and he's just dividing our country.
Isn't it more racist to assume that he was talking about black and brown people when he talks about rats?
Ding, 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 ding. And we have a winner here. Yes, you're correct. Because Paul Jones, I don't know if you saw his video the other week called Mad World, but there's a little snippet in there that shows like this little hipster guy with the Starbucks coffee. It's just like, wow, you called the city of Baltimore racist? Well, when I think of the word racist, when I hear the word racist, I think of black people. And if you don't see how that makes you racist, then there is no way that we can have a discussion. I'm just like, I mean, that's perfect. That's exactly true. He says crime infested, rat and rodent infested, and they ignore the reality of it all and just say, you know what? He's talking about black people. I'm like, what? Wait, where's the racism? Where did it start? Oh yeah, that's right, because you just said
it's the same thing. It's the same thing when he said illegal immigrants and the mainstream media jumped and said Mexicans.
Yeah. Oh god. Or like when the biggest lie of all, the Charlottesville hoax, the whole Charlottesville thing, when he said there was very fine people on both sides. The transcript is all over the place. The video is all over the place. When he says, and I'm not talking about the white neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, or the Antifa, and because they need to be condemned totally. Because he was targeting both sides of the extreme and saying they need to be condemned, but he was also giving room to the fact that there were honest people also there on both sides, just protesting the statues, either wanting it to be removed or to be kept up. And those people were being surrounded and drowned out by the crazy wacko fringe people who were having a riot. And that was glossed over by the media. He says they say very fine people. Trump said very fine people. So they're saying, oh, neo-Nazis. Okay, here's the biggest fallacy of this argument that everybody overlooks. The mainstream media says that Antifa is good and Black Lives Matter is good because those are the people who were there that day. And they say that the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists are bad. If Donald Trump said there were very fine people on both sides, and they were saying that he was saying it in general about everybody, and that includes the white nationalists, but that also includes Antifa and the Black Lives Matter people. So if you want to be technical about what you just said, Trump said, in your words, that Antifa and Black Lives Matter are fine people. So why are you going after him then? See, because that's not what he fucking said. And sorry for swearing. I know I don't monetize, so I have nothing to worry about. I am not going to ever monetize because that's just a whole can of worms that I do not want to deal with. I'm perfectly comfortable just doing this as a hobby, and that's what I do. So,
right.
I mean,
but it's just
what? Yeah, go ahead.
I cannot wrap my head around how they are trying to make Trump into a racist. Do they not realize his background?
Yeah, does everybody forget when he got awards handed to him by Al Sharp, or Jesse Jackson for inner city work that he did? No? Everybody
do you realize that he literally donates money to black organizations? Probably more money than Nancy Pelosi ever will.
Didn't at one point he had like an entire floor of Trump Tower rented out for a bunch of the workers, the minority workers that were working on his construction sites that didn't have a place to stay? He actually let them sleep in Trump Tower and shit like that.
Yeah.
I remember reading about it. Yeah, see, come the fuck on. And then the media will lie again, blatantly, like Vox, which is just a dumpster fire of trash. When they suggest, well, it could be Vox, could be not, but these lefty mainstream medias, they're a dime a dozen. They all spout the same shit. And like I said here, there's 50 articles right here in 2 days about how Donald Trump is racist. Oh, thanks, I didn't know that already. But they'll say that Donald Trump suggests that he was a 9/11 first responder, and in the video they link, he says, "I'm not saying I was a first responder." It's selective. It's a selective interpretation of reality, and that's why I agree with Scott Adams. I don't know if you know who Scott Adams is.
I don't.
He makes the Dilbert comics, and he periscopes a lot. If you have a Twitter account, definitely follow him. He's really good to follow.
Okay.
But he talks about how we're living in two perceptions of reality. And the left is living in their own horror movie. They're seeing something different. They're seeing Nazis and white supremacists running around wearing KKK hoods and swastikas, and they've been living in this world for so long now, up to 3.5, 4 years now in some cases. Yeah, 4 years now in some cases. They've convinced themselves that it is reality, and it's now manifesting in things like Spronson bombing the ICE facility the other week. And remember back in 2017 when Steve Scalise got shot?
Yeah.
I mean, nobody wants to talk about that anymore. That was the most egregious attack. It was a direct attack on lawmakers. I mean, it hasn't come that close since. Well, I mean, I just heard I was watching Tim Pool last night, and Rand Paul had to get half of his lung removed from when his crazy neighbor attacked him last year. Do you remember that?
When his crazy neighbor attacked him?
Yeah, he was mowing his lawn, and this was like after some like build up or like something that had to do with like healthcare or something. When the whole crazy thing was over healthcare last year, he was mowing his lawn and he had like his headphones on, and his crazy neighbor just ran onto his property and tackled him from behind and took him down. He broke a couple of his ribs.
Jesus.
And yeah, Rand Paul got straight up attacked. He broke a couple of his ribs, and apparently, I guess it compromised one of his lungs to the point that he had to have it partially removed. He just had it done the other day. It's yeah. I mean, if you want me to give you links to it, I'll give you links. I'm in the know with a lot of this stuff. Like I'm incessantly online following this stuff. I'm like up to date on everything that's going on. But I mean, with all this craziness going on, with all this like high intensity rhetoric coming from the left, it only results in things like what we saw this weekend with these shootings. I mean, would you agree?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. You know what? I just want to say one thing before we get into the shootings. You can only cry wolf so much, and I feel like the left really cries wolf when it comes to white nationalists and white supremacists. And you can only say, look, there's Nazis, look, there's Nazis, look, there's Nazis, until Nazis actually show up.
Damn it. Sorry, I was just trying to get a USA Today article up, but it was telling me my ad blocker was in the way. Well, fuck you then. But no, I agree. Like, what's happened is in the past couple of years, like, people have tried to talk, like, try to quell things down, but I mean, it's to no avail. I mean, and when one side blatantly is ignoring and selectively editing reality to serve an agenda or a purpose, in my opinion, it shows that they have no want for discussion. They have a want for action. They have, in my opinion, there is some bloodlust going on here.
If here I'm gonna throw some history out. So it's in the era of Nazi Germany, right? Before the National Socialist Party actually takes power in Germany. And there is a party called Antifa, or it's what the Antifa party basically bases their party off of.
Anti-fascista, yeah.
Yeah. And they're screaming about and they were full-blown communists, by the way.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It was a full-blown communist party. And they were screaming racist. They were screaming this and that. And then guess what happened? The National Socialist Party is fucking born.
Mm-hmm. And it's based off of a racial identity of the white Aryan German, because these people scream. I mean, it's a reaction and then counter reaction, And I mean, and that's why I think, I mean, when Tim Pool says that he fears that there's going to be an increase in white national identitarianism, I agree with him, because that's the only, because if you're constantly told that it doesn't matter what you do, if you're white you're racist, if you're a man you're sexist, and if you're straight you're homophobe. So I mean, if you're straight white male, you're pretty much on the bottom tier of society. You're considered a second class citizen, but you're expected to still pay your taxes, keep working hard, and stay
It's
silent.
it's it's like it's like say for school, for instance, if you every day you go to school and your teacher says you're evil, you take a test, you're evil. Hey, look, all your peers say you're evil. Guess what you're gonna start thinking you are?
Yeah, evil. So you're going to have less inhibitions about following down a path that would lead you to doing and committing evil. I mean, look at this. Like the Garlic Festival shooter, the El Paso shooter, and the Dayton shooter. You put their pictures side by side. It looks like they're brothers. I mean, they're scrawny white
Yeah,
guys with glasses. Look at me. I'm a scrawny white guy with glasses. But guess what? I've got a head on my shoulders, and I have a plan. I have a mission. I'm married. I mean, I have a stable job, stable home. I own my own home. I'm doing right. I mean, and I didn't let things phase me. I was bullied when I was younger, when I was a kid. It's called a nerd, but I didn't let that phase me. I just kept on going forward. Just did my own thing. Yeah, you become, if you don't let it bother you, you become slightly introverted. Yeah, you'll play video games, watch YouTube videos, which I do a lot. I don't
go
really
on
get. I don't.
public Discord chats.
Yeah, right. See, I'm not. I mean, but yeah, I mean, I play golf occasionally. I mean, I have friends. I hang out. I'll go to the bar. I mean, I'll do things like a normal person. I mean, it's if you don't have variety, and you allow yourself to drift from what people are constantly saying to you to isolation, and then you find an outing where yeah, like you go to 8chan, 4chan, whatever, and people are like, "Hey, what's up? No problem, bro. We'll no, we're all friends here." It's a welcoming atmosphere, and it starts with that, and you can easily get carried away.
Oh yeah,
But I mean, what? But this is not a gun problem. This is a societal and a mental issue, and that's what I like it when Donald Trump brought up in his address to the nation yesterday, that the problem of mental issues and possibly even involuntary uh, in confinement, which what that means is mental institutions. He was bringing back into the public argument for the first time since like the 80s of mental institutions, because one of the main major correlations is the shutting down of mental institutions with the increase in mass shootings. Because
yeah,
instead of these people being put into a hospital that or into an institution that can help them, they are left on the streets. They cannot be charged criminally, because once there was something called "you're criminally insane," that's not a thing anymore. That's against the law to charge someone based just on the fact of their
yeah.
insanity.
Also, I'd like to bring up the lack of fathers and
Yes,
how
that's the
society,
cultural.
yeah, and how society demonizes masculinity. Whereas if there's a father, if you have a dad, or if there's a father in the home, or at least a father figure, they can teach you how you can use that masculinity for good, how to be a craftsman, how to
They
play
show
sports,
you they
how to
show you the limits. They refine you. They show you the boundaries. They show you limits, but they also show you potential. I agree with that.
exactly,
Now,
exactly,
now, I mean, because when it comes to these two shooters, there's an underlying narrative going around that it's a tit for tat. The left is going after the right, or the left is responding to what the right is doing, and vice versa. uh, if you look at these two guys, I think the underlying fundamental issue is one of upbringing and mental instability. The whole white nationalist, white supremacist thing, I think, is more of a guise, more of just like a an easy way to just blame it on something, because nobody wants to touch the mental health issue. Like people were trying to roast me on Twitter about how it's, I mean, it's white, like it. They didn't even acknowledge anything. It's the vitriol is insane. They just said white nationalism, white nationalism. Look at the manifesto. Look at the manifesto. I mean, yeah, I looked at the manifesto. It's a ramble of just incoherent positions, both of the left and the right. And if you read to the end of his video, Sargon even touched on this in his stream. That it was around the 9-minute mark that the guy even wrote at the end of his thing that I know that the mainstream media will interpret this as white supremacy, but these views were held long before the president was around or any of his, and this has nothing to do with his rhetoric. But I know that it's going to be used anyway, but whatever. I mean, and he's 100% right. So, and I made a video about this months ago when the Christchurch shooting happened, saying that these people are nihilists, but they've been driven to their nihilism because of mental instabilities and the culture that surrounds them constantly telling them that they're evil human beings. So of course, if you're constantly chastised and called horrible, and if you're slightly kooky, yeah, you want to watch the world burn. You want to watch this shit burn to the ground, man.
It's just we need to stop demonizing masculinity. I think that's a good start.
Well, that's why feminism is cancer. I mean, we need to get. We need to get rid of feminism. Woo, god dang, that has destroyed the family unit, and that's where all this comes from: the destruction of the family unit. If a mother and father were there to corral and refine their children into upstanding future members of society, we wouldn't be having the inner city problems, because it's now up to like closer to 80% of all black children are now born into a single parent household or out of wedlock, pretty much, out of wedlock. Like black women are now having the percentage of black women, I think it's now in closer into the 40 to 50% of young black women have, if they have multiple children, like 40 or 50% of the chance those children have separate fathers. It's really, really bad. It's going out of control. I mean, you can take a look, and this is happening in some poor white communities as well. So it's not a racial issue; it's a cultural and societal issue, and that's where the line is blurred all the time. My father used to say, "There's a difference. You can talk about things that about race, and people are going to try to call you racist. But there's a difference. You can talk and be racist, or you can talk about things that are race related." Because just because you're talking about things that are related to race doesn't mean you're racist. I mean, people who assume that things that you say are racist are the actual racists. Like when it comes to when Donald Trump says infestation, oh, he's got to be talking about black people. Case in point. So, I mean, when Donald Trump says we need to come together, we need to come together and stop stop attacking him just because Orange Man bad.
It's not going to happen though. The left is either going to eat themselves alive, or they're just going to fade away to insanity.
What's the incentive to keep doubling down in the face of a culture which is currently in a backlash to the left? The left is losing right now. That's why they're kicking and screaming as loud as they can. That's why you have people like, let me bring up, and I'm sure that his account is still here on Twitter. His account is still here on Twitter, I guarantee you. Where is he? Yep, his account is still up. Let me screen share this. You know Reza Aslan? You know him when he tweeted out the other, like, his hottest of hot takes the other day? Where is it? Let me find this shit, and then I'll screen share it. Actually, you know what? Maybe I can just search for it.
You know what I believe the reason the left is doing this? They want a reaction.
Oh yeah, I don't know why they want a reaction, because that reaction is gonna knock him in the teeth. Like,
They want a reaction. No, they want a on scale huge reaction. They want to keep pushing this anti. They do push anti-white shit, by the way.
oh
They
yeah,
want a reaction out of white males. They want a reaction. They want a 1943 fucking biblical reaction out of white males.
yeah. Here
Is
we
what
go.
they want.
After today, there is no longer any room for nuance. So I guess, it doesn't matter like who the supporters are. They could be black, white, Hispanic, whatever. There is no nuance. It's just this is the fact. The president is a white nationalist terror leader. What? That right there. He could have just said that, and that could have been already hot enough. But he kept going. His supporters, all of them, disregardless of race or anything, are by definition white nationalist terrorist supporters. The MAGA hat is a KKK hood, and this evil racist scourge must be eradicated from society. If that's not a incitement to violence, I don't know what is.
That's a call
Because
to action.
I mean, and like you said, they're living in their horror movie. They see MAGA hats as KKK. They say it like as a matter of fact. They truly believe it. They are ideologues. They are zealots to this now. They have tied themselves to the hip, and they're going to go down with the ship.
Hey man, we just gotta survive until Generations Icon, then we're fine.
Man, I just want to get like a I just want to get a bionic arm that I can shoot a plasma gun like cannon out of, and then I'll be good. Like, I tell my wife all the time when I like see something like this, like this tweet here. I'm just like, where's my Infinity Gauntlet? I just want to snap, just and just like all the crazy leftists and stuff, and we could just live in peace for a while. But I mean, I don't know what else there is, because the blatant hypocrisy and the bias coming from the gatekeepers of these social media, which are these social media companies, because they are the gatekeepers of the discourse right now, because they hold the keys to the digital town squares that we are fighting to open up and claim First Amendment rights over. They decide.
I promise you, I absolutely promise you, in the next 20 years, there's gonna be another civil war.
Oh, dude, I've been anticipating the next civil war for the past. It's going to be for the past 5 years now. I've been saying it's going to be a civil war in about 10 years. I've been saying that for the past since I've been really in the know. Since I think at least like early 2016, I've been saying in the next 10 years there's going to be a civil war. I mean, but I don't think it's going to be. I think it's more like what Tim Pool says. It's going to be propping up of like a random faction with like a couple dozen people torching a facility, or like attacking a section of a town, or like a group of people, and then they just disappear into the night, and law enforcement will be powerless to do anything, and we'd have to enforce martial law. And that goes down to the big argument of it all, the little tiny conspiratorial argument of it all, where it's not about the left or right. It's about power and control and authoritarianism. It's about the left and the right, and the left and the right. The end goal is to control the population, is authoritarianism, is to change the government of America. And that's all we can do is stand up and speak. and we have to just try as hard as we can to get people in office that can uphold those principles and those values that the Constitution has in them. Because right now, when you have the people like the Squad, like the progressives one in there, it's something that I really like catch myself thinking about a lot. Is what is the fine line here? What is the legality of it all when it comes to if you become a congressperson and you try to fundamentally change the Constitution into something that's unconstitutional? Is that in itself an act of treason against the Constitution? Or since you're doing it in a legal way, there's nothing that can be done? But I see that's what it's a fine line. Like, if is the act of fundamentally trying to change the Constitution into something that's not the Constitution anymore, is that unconstitutional?
Yeah, but to change the Constitution, you need, what is it?
You need like House majority and like 75 or 66 plus or 75% plus of the House. I mean of the Senate, and then the president has to approve it too. Like everybody has to approve it.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, because what's happening is the left and the right keep pulling further and further away, and all it is just going to keep the House divided right down the middle. You're probably never going to have a majority in Congress and the Senate ever again. Or anything that comes close. It's probably going to always be 45 to 55 or like 49 to 51. It's probably always going to be like that, and the House is probably never going to sway more than like 30 seats to each side. So
as
we're
far
going to
as
be
how conservative I actually am, like despite that, I've been an advocate for a third party for a long time.
Yeah, I think I mean, a third party would be good. It's just that how much traction could that get? Because America has been instaunched since its founding on just like a two-party dynamic system.
No, George Washington was against it.
Yes, I know George Washington. He was against a lot of the things that they wanted to implement. And well, that's what I'm saying. Like, these founding fathers, these guys, like, they were taking brain force back then or something, because these guys were knowing it. These guys knew what they were doing, because the Constitution still is pretty much, in my opinion, a sound, solid piece of a document that's going to last at least another 200 years, I think. But
hopefully,
I think what we'll do is we will wrap up the stream here. It's been about 50 minutes. I think we did a good job. We talked about good bunch of topics.
Oh yeah.
The craziness of tranny ball shaving. How everything is racist. Everything is racist when you're on Donald Trump's team.
All right.
But hey, Mike, it was good to have you again, everybody. This was an impromptu guest. Very glad that he could find the time to take out of his day to hop on. So everybody, show him some love if anybody is in the chat, and we will wrap that up. So, Mike, if you want to say goodbye, you can.
All right. Thank you for having me.
It's always good.
You can find me at Folk Nationalism on YouTube. You can find me at the same title on Twitter. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, what I'll do is what I'll do is after the stream's done, I'll edit the video description and I'll put all the links to your social medias in there for you. So
all right,
yep.
Thank you.
So thank you everybody for joining in. If you did, hope you guys had a good time. We had a good time, and this is the Swamp Cleaner, and we will see you later.